Call the meeting to order. Call the roll.
Trustee Healy.
Here.
Trustee Katsinas.
Here.
Trustee Milani.
Here.
Trustee Compass.
Here.
Trustee Reardon.
Here.
Trustee Radiszewski.
Here.
Mayor Pekow.
Here.
Please rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First item on the agenda is approval of the March 3rd, 2025 regular meeting minutes.
Mr. Mayor,
Trustee Katsinas.
I move to approve the minutes of the Board of Trustee meeting of March 3rd, 2025.
Second.
Call the roll.
Trustee Katsinas.
Aye.
Trustee Radiszewski.
Aye.
Trustee Healy.
Aye.
Trustee Milani.
Aye.
Trustee Compass.
Aye.
Trustee Reardon.
Aye.
Mayor Pekow.
Aye.
Community Pride Award, D230 Girls Wrestling Team.
So it's my honor to, we have two Community Pride Awards tonight. And the first one is for the D230 Girls Wrestling Team, and who won the Illinois State Championship. And several of the wrestlers also placed. So there were 7 girls in all, and I'm going to go up, I'm going to read them out right now, and then I'm going to hand them each their plaques so they can get individual photos. So the state qualifiers, Jade Hardy in the 100 weight class, third, and she finished 3rd in the state. Tatum De La Vega, the 105 weight class. Sophie, go ahead. Sophia Figueroa, Aurora, 115. Saja Bader, 120. Alyssa Keene, 135, and she finished 3rd. Nola Oben, 155, she finished 4th. And Adriana Vela, 170. So congratulations, girls, and I'll be down just a second. Congratulations. And next, I get the pleasure, well, go ahead, read it off.
Oh, that's all right. Community Pride Award 2024 D230 Boys Wrestling Team State Qualifiers.
So next, I get to give Community Pride Award to all of the state qualifiers for the boys wrestling team at Carl Sandburg. They had 4 state qualifiers and 2 individuals placed. So the state qualifiers were Rocco Hayes, Brady Ritter, I'm going to mess this one up, but Malik Breach, and Ryan Hinger. Rocco and Ryan both finished 3rd in their respective weight classes, so great job, boys. Congratulations, boys. Coach was also a Sandburg grad. Congratulations, boys.
There you go.
All right, what's next?
Okay, next on the agenda, do we have any non-scheduled citizens and visitors for agenda-specific public comment? Anyone to talk? Okay, next item, accounts payable, March 4th, 2025 through March 17th, 2025, approval.
Mr. Mayor,
Trustee Healy.
I move to approve the accounts payable March 4th, 2025 through March 17th, 2025 in the amount of $3,253,785.88.
Second.
Call the roll.
Trustee Healy.
Aye.
Trustee Reardon. Aye. Trustee Katsinas.
Aye.
Trustee Malani.
Aye.
Trustee Campus.
Aye.
Trustee Radiszewski.
Aye.
Mayor Pico.
Aye.
Next is the consent agenda.
Consent agenda, item A, payroll for February 28th, 2025 approval. Item B, Crystal Tree Subdivision Water Main Replacement and Relining Engineering Proposal. Item C, Henderson FSH V-Box Spreaders Purchase. Item D, RFQ 25016, Ecological Restoration Contractor Services. Item E, 2025 Spring Tree Planting Project. Item F, Rock Salt Certificate of Authority by Vote and Rock Salt Purchase. Item G, Village Hall HVAC Improvement Project Phase 2, Train Turnkey. Item H, Lift Station Mini Split Heat System Project. Item I, Hay and Associates MSA for Landscape Architecture Services. Item J, Facility Door Replacements, Village Hall and Utility Sites. Item K, approval of the Board of Trustees closed session minutes. Item L, special event permit for Stirk Family Law Group networking event, 250 people. Item M, therapy canine handler agreement. Item N, St. Michael's Youth Ministry end of year picnic.
Mr. Chairman,
Trustee Malani,
move to approve items A through N of the consent agenda.
Second.
call the roll.
Trustee Malani.
Aye.
Trustee Campus.
Aye.
Trustee Healy.
Aye.
Trustee Katsinas.
Aye.
Trustee Reardon.
Aye.
Trustee Radiszewski.
Aye.
Mayor Pico.
Aye.
Next item, 2025 Asphalt Paving Patching Reissue Bid Award, ITB 25-018.
Mr. Chairman,
Trustee Malani,
Move to approve and authorize the execution of a contractor agreement between the Village of Orland Park and McGill Construction LLC of Frankfort, Illinois at the lowest cost qualified responsive bid for ITB 25-018-2025 asphalt pavement patching project for a total not to exceed cost in an amount of $474,900, which is $399,900 plus a $75,000 contingency, and authorize the village manager to execute all related contracts subject to village attorney review, and authorize the village manager to approve change orders related to this contract within the authorized amount.
Second.
Any comments? Call roll.
Trustee Malani.
Aye.
Trustee Katsinas.
Aye.
Trustee Healy.
Aye.
Trustee Campos.
I abstain due to a family relationship with a non-awarded bidder.
Trustee Reardon.
Aye.
Trustee Radiszewski.
Aye.
Mayor Pico.
Aye.
Next item, Ashburn Corner, final landscape plan approval.
Mr. Mayor,
Trustee Reardon.
I move to approve the landscape plan titled Ashburn Development Planting Plan, Trees and Shrubs prepared by Gregory Pearsall dated October 28th, 2024.
Second.
Any questions from staff or from the board?
Mr. Chairman?
Trustee Malani.
This is the property at the corner of 153rd and 108th, correct?
Yes.
Yes. I believe there were some municipal violation issues at one recently. Were those resolved?
The tree mitigation fees were paid. There was a fine associated with that is not being taken out of the municipal violation court and it's being
Can you
appealed.
speak closer to your mic?
Sorry,
so you
it's
can-
the fine part is being appealed. So from our perspective, that is in a different kind of jurisdiction at this moment. So they're in good standing to have the rest of the project approved.
So the fees were paid, but the
Yes, they
violation
paid
is...
$31,400, I think, yeah.
Okay, so,
But there's still an outstanding fine, but they've appealed it?
Yes, they've appealed the fee, the fine, but they pay the fee.
And if they lose on appeal, what leverage do we have to ensure that they pay that fine?
right.
So the mayor, the fine was doing construction without permit. That
Yeah,
was
they filled in the wetland. I know. I live right there, so I know what they did.
So once they have, they get this approved, we will still have the opportunity for the building permit actually itself and the occupancy.
Okay. I just want to make sure we're not giving up leverage on, the fact that they owe us, as of right now, $50,000, pending what the court decides. But they basically filled in the wetland and completely moved the dirt and everything else. And that was a difficult site, and that was obviously, as we know, not good.
It's not good.
Filling in a wetland's bad.
Right, so back to my question, then, because I know we have an ordinance coming up after this, so if we approve this, the ordinance is the next step. This probably isn't the time to mention it, but I think there should be some kind of contingency built into when we do the ordinance that said based on resolution, whether it's they win or lose the appeal, we should have some type of,
Based on my understanding, the board actually approved this project in 2007.
it's
with the-
2025.
I understand, with the direction to do these two items, to finish those two. You'd have to talk to council about
Right.
adding some additional conditions to that.
Well, just
2007.
also in 2007, they didn't have a municipal violation of $50,000 either.
Not
So,
disagreeing with you.
Just, thank you.
So Attorney Walsh, is there any conditions we can add to either this or the following ordinance?
Because I'd be willing to approve the landscape plan, but I think just the ordinance itself, we should have some type of cushion there, otherwise postpone it to a later time. But
We can make the,
but we shouldn't actually be talking about that at this point anyway, because it's not the agenda item, so.
you can make the approval of the ordinance contingent on them paying the fine, whatever that final number is going to be.
Right. Okay. Well, we can talk about that.
Okay, so that's for the next motion. Any other questions on this one?
Mr. Mayor, I couldn't hear Dennis's response. Could you?
He said we can make a contingent paying the fine, whatever the ruling is. We can make the ordinance contingent on that.
But, Mr. Mayor, didn't you say earlier that we have two additional ways of leverage, if you're calling it, occupancy and building permit?
We do.
Was it redundant if we have to change the ordinance now too?
We don't have to change the ordinance.
Yeah.
I mean, that's leverage, for sure.
Yeah, we still have the ability to prevent it. They also, I mean, building permits, that includes excavation, that includes everything, right? I mean,
Yes.
they don't have permits for any of that stuff, so we don't have to issue any of those until they pay.
Yeah, there's 6 lots that are part of this development, so until the occupancy is filled in on, or completed for the last item, however long that takes.
Mr. Mayor,
Trustee Healy?
I think that what this guy did was egregious. It wasn't a parking fine. He got fined thousands of dollars. So financially, it's there, but I still don't want, I just don't want people having an avenue to work things out if they can make egregious errors in how they're treating the village code.
Okay. Trustee Kat, you want to
Mr.
say something?
Mayor?
Yeah, Trustee Katsinas?
When will this be resolved? I mean, could we put this off? Could we postpone making any decision on this tonight? I mean, when is the final outcome going to come about the fine?
It's in the MV court, Trustee Castanes, and we can't speak when the judge will decide on it or when the.
Well, it's in Cook County Court now. It's out of the MB Court, correct?
Correct.
Well, it's my feeling that we should hold off on doing anything more until we see the outcome of the court case that's pending.
Anyone else? So I guess my take would be that, you know, the good thing about approving this is it gives us the ability to issue a permit for restoring it to the condition that we want it to be in. And even while the court case is pending, because in Cook County it could take years, I would much rather see them restore it and, you know, start doing things the correct way, I guess, going forward and getting everything back to where it should be, than wait 2 years for that while we're waiting for the county to hear anything. We can always still hold back the actual building of the homes or occupancy of the homes until the fine is resolved. So I guess I'd rather see just me personally, I'd rather see that restored, and it won't be restored at all until, if we don't approve it, it won't be restored at all until after the court case is heard.
So, Mr. Chairman.
Thing about holding off till the circuit court case is resolved is whatever that resolution is, that can get appealed to the appellate court, and you're talking years before decisions are made, likely.
And it continues to look like it does right now.
Yeah, and Mr. Mayor, I mean, that could be a point of negotiation, is if they fix it, you know, if they get it back the way that it was supposed to be, we issued the fine, right? We
Yes.
could work out a deal with that if we get them to comply.
Correct.
So,
Yeah, we still have leverage, in my opinion, and I'd
yeah.
rather see it get fixed than continue to look at a dirt pile.
Okay, Mr. Chairman.
Trustee Malani?
Yeah, just to clarify, though, for this particular agenda item, we're only looking at the approval of the landscape plan and not the rest of this that we're talking about.
Right, but the landscape,
just making
if we
sure
don't
that
approve the
everybody knows.
landscape plan, you know, then, if we don't approve the landscape plan, then nothing else happens.
Right, that's why I'm just making sure that everybody is on the same page and they knew what they were voting for.
Yeah, we're just discussing it. Any other comments? Okay, so call the roll on approving the final landscape plan approval for Ashburn Corner.
Trustee Reardon.
aye.
Trustee Healy.
No.
Trustee Katsinas.
No.
Trustee Malani.
Aye.
Trustee Campos.
Aye.
Trustee Radiszewski.
Aye.
Mayor Pico.
Aye.
And the related Ashburn Corner final ordinance.
Mr. Mayor,
Trustee Reardon?
regarding case number 2025-0218, also known as Ashburn Corner, final ordinance, I move to adopt an ordinance entitled Ordinance Approving a Final Site Plan and Landscape Plan, Ashburn Corner, 153rd Street and 108th Avenue.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay. Anyone have any comments?
Mr. Chairman,
Trustee Malani.
I'd like to make an amendment to the motion to stay contingent on resolution of the municipal violation.
Do I hear a second? And a second, anyone? Motion fails for lack of a second. So back to the original, anyone have comments on the original ordinance? Okay, call the roll.
Trustee Reardon.
Aye.
Trustee Healy.
No.
Trustee Katsinas.
No.
Trustee Malani.
No.
Trustee Campos.
Aye.
Trustee Radiszewski.
Aye.
Mayor Pico.
Aye. Motion carries.
Next on the agenda, SB Friedman Development Advisors as Needed Consulting Services 2025, Orland Square Mall.
Mr. Mayor,
Trustee Katsinas.
I move to approve the agreement with SB Freeman Development Advisors for hourly as-needed consulting services not to exceed $30,000 and authorize the village manager to execute all related contracts subject to village attorney review.
Second.
So this is for the Sears location, which I think we all understand will, there's a high likelihood that it will be a TIF. Obviously, it is not, it has no students whatsoever, so the schools can rest assured there's no, unlike my predecessor, we don't want townhomes at the mall. So we're not putting any students there at all. But obviously, it's blighted. At 7 years, it hasn't been done. And the big reason for doing this, one of the big reasons for doing this is the mall was built 74 timeframe. The MWRD rules have changed a lot. There's a lot more requirements for water storage and volume control and things that, frankly, the mall has no space left. They have no water capacity left for any stormwater. And a huge parking lot that is not needed. And so it's overparked. So the goal of this is to get a pond or something. One, it's to beautify the parking lot, but also to put a pond that can hold the water necessary for future developments around the ring road, as well as anything at the mall and potential outlets at the mall, because there's so much extra parking. So that's what this is for. That's one of the reasons why we would TIF it. One is to get it filled, but the other is to make sure that we have long-term capability of developing everything around the mall, which we don't have currently. And the TIF would allow us to pay for that without that the new construction there would pay for the development of this pond and the infrastructure and everything else. Krishit, did I pretty much cover it correctly?
Yes, you did, Mayor. We also are seeing redevelopment around the ring road, which is causing more pressure on the stormwater system. So we need to supplement that, in various ways that can be done.
Great. Anybody else have any questions or comments?
Mr. Mayor?
Trustee Reardon, or Trustee Healy, I'm sorry.
Mr. Mayor, given over the last couple of years, dealing with cantankerous other boards and other taxing authorities, I'm not real interested in, I have my reservations over going up with another TIF district, the costs involved in it and that. And I would hope, I'm not saying I'm permanently against it, but I would hope that perhaps the consultant, Friedman Development Advisors, would examine all avenues of incentives and other redevelopment things. I understand there's, a need for it, but excuse me, I haven't seen a formal plan of what would go into a TIF or anything like that, but I'd hope they would examine alternates to TIFs as well as a TIF plan.
Well, they're TIF experts. They're going to evaluate the TIF. There's really no other funding source we have available to us. I mean, here's what we did with Von Mauer. With Von Mauer, we did a sales tax sharing agreement. It was a new store going into the space, and we also did abatement. So basically, they're not paying us any property tax for, I forget how many years it is, 10, I believe?
10 or $8 million.
No. but I mean the abatement.
Yes, yes.
They're not paying us, any property tax for that long, we abate it. And the school districts, fire district and library are abating 50%, which is all they're allowed to abate by law. And the maximum amount they can abate is up to $4 million total. In total, it's capped at like $8 million for Von Mauer, but basically that's how this was done. The Sears, because it's blighted, that was not blighted because it hadn't been empty for a year. The Sears, because it's blighted, qualifies for a TIF. The nice thing about a TIF is it doesn't impact anyone's property tax because the property tax is held at its current level. So everyone will still get paid that property tax. Presumably, a new project there is going to be worth more money. It will have a higher assessment, and that difference between the property tax it would pay and the property tax it is paying is what's used to pay for that TIF, and it's done over a long period of time, over 23 years, so it doesn't impact the residents. It has much less of an impact on residents and other taxing bodies than, say, the Von Mauer deal, which sure, you can say the sales tax doesn't impact us because it's new sales tax, but the property tax abatements certainly did. And so this way you don't have to do that. And because in this case as well, this is a village need. This is not whoever redevelops it, it's not their need to do this. They can stay inside the box and they don't have to do anything. This stormwater is a village need. It is not, I don't believe it's fair for a developer to say you have to pay for something that benefits everybody else in the village, which is what it does. It benefits us so that we can handle the stormwater.
Like a deeper understanding of what all is involved, the MWRD role in it, what it takes to correct them, and all the other levers. I lack the knowledge of the overall project, and I haven't seen any details on it. So
Well, the overall project isn't going to be submitted yet. Right now, he's evaluating if this is redeveloped. He's going to take the information from the development as they give it to them, just like he's done for others, and say this is how much TIF it can generate to see if it can pay for it. Without that assessment, we don't know if a TIF works or if there's other levers we have to look at. And obviously this is kind of always the first part of the process. Like we've done it with John Humphrey, we've done it with 159th, we've done it with Andrew Corporation to understand whether or not there's enough TIF increment to actually make the project work as they start working through their project and understand everything they need, and we understand from MWRD everything we need. If they stay inside the box, MWRD, they don't have to do anything with MWRD. That would just all be us doing it, but we don't know exactly what the plans are yet. So this is a first phase to get that going, so that when plans are delivered to us, we're down the road and we don't have to wait months to evaluate it. Any other questions? Call the roll.
Trustee Katsinas?
Aye.
Trustee Malani?
Aye.
Trustee Healy?
Aye.
Trustee Compass?
Aye.
Trustee Reardon?
Aye.
Trustee Radiszewski? Aye. Mayor Peacock.
Aye.
Next item is the Orland Square Mall Inducement Resolution.
Mr. Chairman,
Trustee Compass.
I move to adopt a resolution entitled Inducement Resolution relating to the possible adoption of tax increment financing for a potential TIF district, Orland Square Mall, Exporting Goods Incorporated.
Second.
And I guess before any comments, I'll just make this clear as well, that this is something we have to do in order to reimburse if we do have a TIF. Doesn't mean we have a TIF. There's a long process. There's public hearings that have to go out, public hearings in front of the Planning Commission. The plan has to be there. All of that has to be done, just like we saw with the Triangle TIF. There's a whole big, long process, a lot of public hearings, a lot of public meetings, a lot of public information. This is simply to say that we are authorizing that if that happens, we can reimburse expenses that are currently happening if they're eligible according to the TIF law.
Mr. Mayor,
Trustee Reardon.
so this space has been empty for 7 years, right?
Since 2018, yeah.
2018, and I know because I've been on the board for 4 years, but we've been marketing it, we've been trying to get people to come there. I mean, the market is telling us that, there's only certain things that'll come there, right?
So we've had, so we obviously had an agreement with a movie theater that was going to redevelop it. They actually did some of the interior work. They removed asbestos. COVID hit. We know what happened to the movie industry, including AMC. AMC pulled out of the deal. Actually, the people that owned that took a bath all over the country and sold the properties off. The property was bought by someone who wanted to do something that really, in our opinion, was detrimental to the mall and was, just not something that we would approve. That person has decided to sell. My understanding is they have an agreement, and and I don't know the details of that agreement, but they have an agreement.
My point more, not specifically, Dick's or what's happened in the past, is that, as a board, we have to look at how the market is treating this particular property. I mean, we can want certain things that could go in there all day long, but we have to see what the market is telling us, what we don't want to be developers. We don't want to go in there and say, this is what should go in there. When projects get brought to us, we have to look at them up and down. And if the TIF is the way that we have to do it, that's what we pay professionals like SB to tell us this, to analyze this for us, right?
Right, and this is just saying that if this all happens and everything happens,
Get
they
reimbursed,
submit it.
yeah.
But this is for a Dick's Sporting Goods new concept that's much larger than the existing one. They would move from the existing place over to Orland Square. We have talked about this with the staff. I believe that filling Sears is extremely difficult. We've proven that, just like Trustee Reardon just said. And to get someone that wants to take that whole space of 200,000, it's much easier to fill, and I've talked to some people in the marketplace, much easier to fill the existing Dick's when they leave at that end cap of that mall with 80,000 square feet than it is to fill the 200,000 at Sears. The other thing is, is that, I guess I'll just give my comments right now, just so everybody hears it, but approving this resolution is the necessary first step to getting them to relocate to that Sears location. It's just a first step. This is a new concept for them. It's much more experiential. It's much bigger. We've seen the concept. I see Steve nodding his head. It's fantastic. I think anyone who was who saw it agrees. And there's been about 20 built nationwide. When we saw it, there'd only been about 8. But this will be the first one to open in Greater Chicagoland. So it'll be the first one of this kind to open here. As many of you know, our mall is very successful. It's a top 1% traffic mall in the country, even with the vacant Sears parcel. And that sat longer than we wanted due to COVID, like we talked about, and the sheer size of it. It makes it difficult. This concept, on average, in the malls they've gone into, have improved mall traffic by 30%. Imagine that on top of a top 1% traffic mall, what that does. Even half of that would be amazing. And with the previous edition of Von Mauer, it really sets the mall up permanently for long-term success. I mean, it's in great shape now, but it would just, now it's, the one problem that we have would be gone. Everyone should be excited about this, I guess. Any other comments?
Mr. Mayor,
Trustee Katsinas.
to be clear, Dick's would take the whole existing Sears store. They're not going to split it
They're
up.
purchasing the whole Sears store. I don't know if it's all, the concept's going to take the whole thing, but that's for them to come to us with the development. But they're going to develop the whole site. And Dick's is a Class A tenant. I mean, they are not in any trouble. They're doing fantastic. They're not someone that's, frankly, you have 2 other mall anchors that have closed stores. Dick's is not one of those places that's doing something like that, right? So it's very, very secure tenant.
Well, I have to say that's a huge improvement for the mall. When you drive around the ring of the mall, you hit that east side and it just looks so bad because as properties are vacant, they go from being okay to really looking really, really run down. So super excited. I was just in Dick's over the weekend. What a fabulous store with tons of different things. I hadn't been in there for about a year and went in there this weekend. And what a class act to add to Von Mauer and other stores at our mall. So I applaud the staff for making this happen. And thank you so very much. I'm really excited about it.
Anything else? Yeah, Dick's is, it's a fantastic store. And I think it'll be a great addition. And we're all excited about it. You should be too. It's fantastic news for Orland Park. It caps off a couple of years of work of our staff and the village board and me to make this happen. So great work, everybody, and glad that we could do this. Call the roll.
Trustee Campus?
Aye.
Trustee Katsinas.
Aye.
Trustee Healy.
Aye.
Trustee Malani.
Aye.
Trustee Reardon.
Aye.
Trustee Radiszewski.
Aye.
Mayor Pico.
Aye.
Next is a resolution authorizing and approving a commitment by the Village of Orland Park for the 2025 Invest in Cook Grant Program, 94th Avenue and 159th Street intersection safety improvements.
Mr. Mayor,
Trustee Radiszewski?
I move to adopt a resolution entitled Resolution Authorizing and Approving a Commitment by the Village of Orland Park for the 2025 Invest in Cook Program, 94th Avenue and 159th Street intersection safety improvements.
Second.
Any comments? Call roll.
Trustee Radiszewski.
Aye.
Trustee Healy.
Aye.
Trustee Katsinas.
Aye.
Trustee Malani.
Aye.
Trustee Compass.
Aye.
Trustee Reardon.
Aye.
Mayor Pico.
Aye.
Next on the agenda, 167th Street Multi-Use Path, Steeplechase Parkway to 104th Street. Phase 2, Final Design Engineering Services, Contract Amendment Number 1, Change Order Number 4, and Addendum D.
Mr. Mayor,
Trustee Reardon.
I move to approve and authorize the execution of a contract amendment number 1, change order number 4, addendum D to the professional service agreement dated August 19, 2021 with Civil Tech Engineering of Itasca, Illinois for the 167th Street Multi-Use Path, Steeplechase Parkway to 104th Avenue to increase the total not to exceed contract amount by $84,339.70 to $334,328.70 for the work outlined in the attached Amendment 1 proposal dated March 3rd, 2025, and authorize the village manager to execute all related contracts, agreements, subject to village attorney review.
Second.
Call the roll.
Trustee Reardon.
Aye.
Trustee Radiszewski.
Aye.
Trustee Healy.
Aye.
Trustee Katsinas.
Aye.
Trustee Malani.
Aye.
Trustee Compass.
Aye.
Mayor Pico.
Aye.
Verizon Wireless Lease Agreement Amendment Number 1 for 13611 LaGrange Road.
Mr. Mayor,
Trustee Katsinas.
I move to approve the Verizon Wireless Lease Agreement Amendment Number 1 between the village and Verizon Wireless for 13611 LaGrange Road, and authorize the village manager to execute all agreements subject to village attorney review.
Second.
Any questions or comments?
Mr. Mayor?
Trustee Healy.
I just don't understand this lease. Would they, that 1990s, the original lease from 2004 called for $6,000 a year and a 4% increase per year. That increase comes out, in my quick math, comes out to $13,272. Now they're saying they want to renew the lease at $650 a month, which is $7,500, $8,000. I mean, are we charging them to $13,272 according to the contract? I hope so. And why would we go down in price? It seems like, I don't know why we'd go down in price. Verizon has revenue of $134 billion, and they've given $11 million in lobbying and $2 million in contribution. They've got plenty of money, and I don't know why we should be going down in this lease. So maybe, I hope, maybe I just don't understand the wording of the lease.
Any other comments? So do you want to give us the background on the lease and the upgrade? I'm assuming the lease is going up from what it was. It's not what their original lease was.
I'd ask that if Joel could speak to this issue. Khurshid.
Hot potato.
I'm not clear on, like, what am I trying to provide here? I mean, they have these are their standard terms that they go every 5 years. Their extension applies every 5 years. the rate increment goes every 5 years. That's how they have it.
What was our lease agreement with them before, 5 years ago?
Mayor, I have to take a look at it, what was 5 years ago.
Table?
It was what?
I think 6 grand.
That was in
Okay, I don't see it.
2004? All right, well, I'll entertain a motion to table this to the next meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Call the roll.
Trustee Reardon.
Aye.
Trustee Katsinas.
Aye.
Trustee Healy.
Aye.
Trustee Malani.
Aye.
Trustee Campos.
Aye.
Trustee Radiszewski.
Aye.
Mayor Pico.
Aye. And Krishid, could you get the whole background on this before it comes back to the board? Okay, including the whole history. Thank you.
Apologies, I don't have a packet for the next item. I'm just making sure that it's not here somewhere.
Service sanitation contract reauthorization.
Mr. Mayor,
Trustee Reardon.
I move to reapprove the waiver of competitive bidding in favor of the solicitation of competitive proposals and to approve and authorize the execution of a professional service agreement between the Village of Orland Park and Service Sanitation of Gary in as quoted in response to RFP 23-056 based on the quote dated January 30th, 2025 for the rental and service of portable toilets for village athletic fields and school sites and special events in the amount not to exceed a total of $73,463.11 plus a contingency of $2,812.10 for a not to exceed total of $76,275.21 for each of the years 2025 and 2026, with the option to extend for 2 additional years. It costs us $74,511.39, plus a contingency of $2,812.10 for 2027, and $75,559.68, plus a contingency of $2,812.10 in 2028, for a total not to exceed contract costs, including option years of $308,245.70. Authorize the village manager to approve change orders not to exceed the contingency amount, and authorize the village manager to execute all related contracts, subject to village attorney review. All of that for porta potties. Nice.
Second.
Second.
Any comments?
Mr. Mayor,
Trustee Healy.
I have mentioned in previous meetings that I don't think we should be paying for the schools. We leave them there for all, there might be 2 or 3 games at a school a week. That's, 8 hours, and they get used to the porta potties. But it's such a small part of the contract, I guess I'll hold my nose and vote for it.
Any other comments? So with the schools, we have an IGA to do this, so that's why we do it. So we have an intergovernment agreement that we've made. So if you want to not have an intergovernment agreement in the future, you can vote against it, but right now we have one. So we're going to honor our part of it.
See, we can get along with them, right? We're giving them porta
But this
potties.
is, so porta potties, so we've all heard about the permanent bathrooms at the Centennial Park West. Permanent bathrooms to cover about half of what we do for the taste would cost about $9 million. These porta potties for the entire village, we can pay for that for 120 years. Okay. So, and that doesn't even include the cost to clean it, keep it safe, because you have to clean them all the time, if they're there all the time, and keep them secure, people breaking into them and all that. So I think the porta potties today are a good solution.
Mr. Mayor, this is a service that you want professionals taking care of, not having to do on your own.
Correct, absolutely. You got that right.
Volunteering, trustee.
No, I'm not volunteering for that.
Bill, are you volunteering for this?
They still want to pay for the schools. I think they got enough money, so.
All right, call the roll.
Trustee Reardon. Aye. Trustee Radiszewski.
Aye.
Trustee Healy.
Aye.
Trustee Katsinas.
Aye.
Trustee Malani.
Aye.
Trustee Compass.
Aye.
Mayor Pico.
Aye.
Next item, grant agreement OS-25-2643 between the State of Illinois and the Village of Orland Park.
Mr. Chairman,
Trustee Malani.
move to approve to the Board of Trustees entering into grant agreement number OS-25-2643 between the State of Illinois and the Village of Orland Park, and authorize the village manager to execute all related contracts, subject to village attorney review.
Second.
Any comments? Trustee Healy?
I'll save my comments.
Okay.
Mr. Chair.
I thought maybe it's because it's St. Patrick's Day and you're not partying as an Irishman, you were, but, okay, so Trustee Malani.
Yeah, no, it's great that we received this award, the awards, to build this all-inclusive park. It's clearly something that many residents want, so it'll be nice to see this project completed. So thanks to staff for working so hard on getting this through.
Mr. Mayor,
Trustee Katsinas?
I'd also like to say how, what a great job our Recs and Parks does for our special needs community, whether it be the programs that we offer or this park. So keep up the great job. We love going to their events. And, you have wonderful coaches and counselors there to help them through the village. So thank you, Ray.
Thank you. Any other comments? So this is great work by staff. Phase 2 of the Schuster Park is exciting, and it'll be built this year. This grant is one of many that staff has secured since I've been mayor. We talked about this. $3.5 million in the 10 years before I got here, and then over $45 million since in the last 8. So thank you, Krashid and Joel and Ray and everyone else who's worked on this. So great work, and looking forward to this being done. Call the roll.
Trustee Malani.
Aye.
Trustee Compass.
Aye.
Trustee Healy.
Aye.
Trustee Katsinas.
Aye.
Trustee Reardon.
Aye.
Trustee Radiszewski.
Aye.
Mayor Pico.
Aye.
Acceptance of the fiscal year 2023 annual comprehensive financial report.
Mr. Chairman,
Trustee Compass.
I move to accept the fiscal year 2023 annual comprehensive financial report ending December 31st, 2023.
Second.
You want to come
Excuse me,
come on
Mayor.
up and give the presentation?
Yeah, excuse me. Good evening, Mayor and Board. I'm just wanted to make a comment that my team has put a lot of effort in since this past November to catch up with the 2023 financials. I'm proud to say that we have made a lot of improvements, and above all, at this moment, we are fully compliant with our financial statements. And with that, I'd like to reintroduce Anthony Cervini from Sikich to present his opinion on our financials.
Thank you, Chris. Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, trustees. Nice to be back before you this evening presenting the results of our audit of the village as of and for your fiscal year ended December 31st, 2023. As I mentioned in the previous presentation, the village for many years has prepared an annual comprehensive financial report, or an ACFR report. This is a document that the village voluntarily chooses to prepare, going above and beyond what you're required to present from both a compiled statute standpoint as well as a generally accepted accounting principles standpoint. Within the annual comprehensive financial report, the first section is the introductory section. In the introductory section on page Roman numeral 1, you'll find the village's letter of transmittal. Encourage you to read through the village's letter of transmittal in conjunction with the management's discussion and analysis. I'll cover that in just a few minutes here, but the letter of transmittal is as I mentioned in previous audit's presentation, it's a somewhat unique component within an audited financial statement. This allows management to discuss current activities, current projects going on, take a look somewhat down the road as well. Generally, this is obviously a more looking at the past document, so this is a unique component. I encourage you to look at that. The next section of the report, really the meat and potatoes, if you will, of the report is the financial section. Within the financial section, the first component is the independent auditor's report. I'm pleased to present to the mayor and the trustees this evening that we've issued a clean, unmodified opinion on the December 31st, 2023 financial statements. That financial statement opinion is the highest level of assurance that we can provide as auditors, and it means the financials, based on our audit, are fairly presented in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles and are free of material misstatement. So again, want to acknowledge the board and staff for their efforts in receiving that unmodified opinion. For our opinion this year, we conduct our audit in accordance with two different sets of standards, generally accepted auditing standards, as well as generally accepted government auditing standards, the latter of which is required based on the village's combined spending of state and federal dollars for that, so that government auditing standards report is separately included. I'll cover that in just a few moments here for you. And then finally, ultimately, noting that management is responsible for the fair presentation of these financial statements. Our opinion as auditors is our responsibility, obviously, to go through, perform our procedures on a test basis to ensure that the amounts reported are fairly presented. Within the separate government auditing standards report, there are certain things that we have to note and look at from an internal control standpoint and from a compliance standpoint. Within that document, there were certain things that were noted during the course of our audit here. We had one finding this year that we noted, which is called a significant deficiency. As a reminder for that, there are different levels of comments that we can have. There's deficiencies, significant deficiencies, and material weaknesses. The significant deficiency this year did relate to an adjustment that was required to reverse certain revenues that were deferred previously in the Recreation and Parks Fund there. I am pleased to report as part of that, that staff is going to, has already gone down the process of investigating those amounts there and determining the way that the systems are talking to one another in terms of that from the recreation system where the registration data is stored versus what's on the general ledger system there. I am also pleased to report that the prior year comment that we noted, which was a material weakness and internal control over financial reporting, that comment was not repeated for the 2023 audit there. I should tell you as a board and those interested in the financial statements of the village that kind of some of the more significant issues that were out there related to the 22 audit, some of the challenges that we discussed previously for that. Staff has put in a lot of effort to resolve that. The fact that I'm standing here a few short months after presenting the 22 audit, I should tell you that the staff has put in a lot of work for that. So I just want to commend for that as well. Immediately following the opinions, you'll move into the general purpose external financial statements, the first section of which is that management's discussion and analysis, which I mentioned earlier. This is the executive summary piece within the annual comprehensive financial report. If you're talking to residents, constituents, taxpayers, anybody that's interested in the village's financial position, direct them to the MD&A. This is a great resource for them to understand what changed from one year to the next, but more importantly, being able to understand why those figures change, and management has the opportunity to provide that context as part of this document. Immediately following the MD&A, you come to the basic financial statements, the first of which is the statement of net position. This is the village's big picture financial statements, your big picture balance sheet, if you will, as part of that. Looks at your governmental activities, which are your general fund and your other tax-supported funds, your business type activities, so your water, sewer, and commuter parking funds, and then you have your component unit, which is the Joint Emergency Telephone System Board. This includes all of your capital assets, so your roads, your other infrastructure assets there, equipment, all of those items, as well as looking at any long-term debt, including your pension liabilities, other post-employment benefit liabilities, et cetera, as part of that. As of December 31st, 2023, the village's unrestricted net position for your governmental activities was a deficit of $2.75 million, primarily driven by those pension liabilities and other debt that was outstanding there, offset, of course, by the capital asset amounts. Your business type activities, $21.5 million of a positive unrestricted net position there. Tells you that overall the health of your water and sewer fund is in solid shape for that as well. You see other amounts presented in that net position category, including other amounts that are restricted by external parties or other spending requirements that are associated with those dollars. And then finally, your net investment in capital assets, which includes those capital asset balances, less any debt outstanding that was used to acquire those capital assets. So overall, village's total net position for your governmental activities was just under $257 million, business type $178.6 million. For fiscal year 2023, your net position for the governmental activities increased just under $2.1 million, while your business type activities increased $1.65 million in terms of that. Immediately following those pages, you'll come to the governmental funds balance sheet. This is presented on a current financial resources measurement focus. This is what we refer to in the governmental financial reporting world as the modified accrual basis. This is looking at your general fund, your other tax-supported funds here. And what we're doing in this presentation is stripping out those capital assets, those long-term liabilities, more of an operational schedule in terms of what you're looking here, your current financial resources. Major funds are presented in individual columns there, the general fund being obviously the village's main operating fund. As of December 31st, 2023, you reported an unassigned fund balance in the general fund of $16.8 million, which equates to about 31% of your general fund expenditures for fiscal year 23, so compliant with the village's fund balance policy that you do have in place. Governmental funds for the year, the following schedule of statement of revenues, expenditures, and changes in fund balance outlines the operations within the funds for those years. Same measurement focus there. Overall, for your governmental funds, you had a drawdown of about $10.1 million in fiscal year 2023, of which $9.2 million of that was driven in your capital improvement fund based on capital spending in fiscal year 2023. Last few items that I'll cover for the board in my comments this evening. Your proprietary funds are your water and sewer and your commuter parking funds here. Your unrestricted net position, obviously the water sewer is the lion's share of those amounts as part of that. Again, an unrestricted net position of $21.5 million in your water sewer fund. That tells you from a long-term standpoint, your water and sewer fund is doing a good job covering its debt cost as well as any capital needs as part of that, in addition to the operational considerations that go into that. Commuter parking fund has a small deficit balance, essentially $7,500 is a deficit balance there. Obviously post-COVID in terms of this kind of the commuter parking lots, that's a pretty common theme that we've seen across the board in terms of commuter parking lots. Essentially there you have most of your assets tied up in infrastructure and the lots themselves as part of that. Last few items that I'll cover for you then are just related to the pensions and the TIF reporting here. For 2022 reporting for IMRF, which is what's presented in the annual comprehensive financial report, the village presented a 81.58% funded status for IMRF, or the Illinois Municipal Retirement Fund. Again, defined benefit pension plan there. Your requirements in terms of funding at the state level there are driven by the moment that you hire that employee. If they're IMRF eligible, you have to start making those contributions at that particular point in time. So with that, 81.58% funded, a very solid funded ratio for a defined benefit plan. On the police pension fund, you saw an increase in your funded status this year from 67.6% to about 71.6%, so about a 4% uptick there. The 2022, December 31st, 2022 investment losses were essentially kind of wiped out with 2023 operations there. So that's why you saw that 4% increase going into the funded status for the plan. Finally, the last comment I have for the board this evening before entertaining any questions is just that our TIF compliance opinion is included as the last item within this document there. We noted no instances or issues of non-compliance in terms of our testing over the triangle TIF. With that, again, just my thanks to Finance Director Frankenfield, Assistant Director O'Carroll, and the rest of the finance staff and everybody else at the village that participated in the audit process. Again, to be here their work is why I'm able to be here this evening for that. So with that, I'd be happy to entertain any questions. Thank you.
Does the board have any questions or comments?
Mr. Mayor,
Trustee Reardon?
so I want to say thank you, first of all. It's unbelievable work in 5 months to get both of them done. I know staff was incredibly involved and did a great job. Just to have, for all the noise that's out there, all the agendas people have, you can publicly say that we have a clean audit, right?
That is correct.
Okay, so thank you so much again for your company, your firm, jumping in here. We had the reasons were simple. I mean, we laid them out, people took them and ran with them, whatever they wanted to say, but the reasons were simple why we got behind. But your work and the work of our finance department got us back on track, so thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman.
Trustee Campos?
So similar to Trustee Reardon, just want to say thank you to Sikich, also to our staff, of course, but we know that taking on a new client in a short period of time and finishing not one, but two audits in the time frame that you did really shows a diligence to your professionalism and transparency, making sure that we're have really strong financial oversight. So thank you for all the extra time, the effort, and making sure this is getting done quickly.
Any other?
Mr. Mayor?
Trustee Healy?
Thank you to Sikich, thank you to Chris and Teresa and everybody in the finance department. It was, I know it wasn't easy for any of you all to get this out in such a quick time and with good accuracy and a great presentation. Again, thank you, and we look forward to the next audit.
Thank you. Any other comments? Okay, I have some questions. mostly for the public's consumption, because I think I know most of the answers to these, but, so there's been a lot of misinformation about missing money in the village. Specifically, an $800,000 mistake. You've completed your audit. Have you found any hint of this evidence to support any of that whatsoever?
No, there was nothing that we noted in terms of any missing funds.
Yeah, and just so everyone knows, it was a comment taken out of context from a board meeting when there was a budget amendment of that amount, just shy of that amount, that the comment was actually, you said, this is a mistake, and we actually, the follow-on was, this isn't a mistake, this is unacceptable. They cut that portion out. So they try to make it sound like there's missing money. There is not. You've heard that from the auditor. Also, you, believe it or not, and the village were accused by a school district attorney of our audit not complying with GAP standards. The sentence he cited, of course, he skipped the part about the component units. It actually said component units were not audited with GAP standards. So could you answer just these questions really simply? Did the audit adhere to GAP accounting standards?
Yes, the audit was conducted in accordance with generally accepted auditing standards. We audit to test for the village's compliance with generally accepted accounting principles, which are set forth by the Governmental Accounting Standards Board, or GASB.
Yeah. And then what is a component unit?
So a component unit is an entity that we go through as part of the audit process and discussion with the village to determine whether or not there are certain items based on their relationship with the village as to whether or not those are required to be included as part of the village's reporting entity for that. So what we do in terms of looking at that, and you'll see a similar comment in terms of the current year audit there, but essentially when there's two sets of auditing standards that are in play, generally accepted auditing standards, those are the baseline there. Those are set forth by the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants, or AICPA as they're known, as part of that. The second being generally accepted government auditing standards. Those are set forth by the Comptroller General's Office of the United States as part of that process there as well. So the comment that you'll see in there is that the component unit, so this, for the 2023 report, the ETSB is the only component unit presented as part of that, and simply noting that that audit, or that component unit audit, was not required or not subject to those government auditing standards.
Right. Okay. And that's why that's not done. And so that answered my following question, or my next question as well. And then lastly, and you kind of answered this as well, but upon the filing of this audit in the coming week, when it actually gets loaded up onto the system for the state, will the village be completely up to date on its audits?
So the 2023 report is due to the comptroller based on the discussions that staff, and we were part of those conversations as well, to outline this timeline for them. So the comptroller report, the kind of entering the data into the comptroller's form is the final step in that process there. Staff has a draft of that report from me today to review as part of that process there. Then this audit will be attached to that and submitted there. So from a comptroller standpoint, as far as we are aware in terms of that, you would be compliant and up to speed and caught up with your previous filings.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you. Well, I also want to commend staff on all their hard work. I also want to commend staff for, and previous staff as well, for what we did from, nobody else on this board was here in 2017 when I got to see a forecast of our operating reserves being -8% in 2023. And so the effort that we took to become more efficient, to restructure, to do a lot of things to be much more financially, fiscally responsible, I guess I would say, has put us in a place where we actually have a 31% reserve this year. And over the last couple of years, we've actually taken money out of the reserves to go towards capital. So we've completely righted the financial ship, and I really want to thank staff for all of that. And that's everyone on every department, because you all had a hand in that. So thank you. And thank you, Anthony, for your presentation. I appreciate it.
Thank you, trustees.
Call the roll.
Trustee Campos.
Aye.
Trustee Reardon.
Aye.
Trustee Healy.
Aye.
Trustee Katsinas.
Aye.
Trustee Malani.
Aye.
Trustee Radiszewski.
Aye.
Mayor Pico.
Aye.
An ordinance amending Appendices A and B to ordinance number 5963, Second Amendment ordinance.
Mr. Mayor,
Trustee Reardon.
I move to adopt an ordinance entitled Ordinance Amending Appendices A and B to Ordinance Number 5963, Second Amendment.
Second.
Any questions or comments? Call the roll.
Trustee Reardon.
Aye.
Trustee Healy.
Aye.
Trustee Katsinas.
Aye.
Trustee Malani.
Aye.
Trustee Compass.
Aye.
Trustee Radiszewski.
Aye.
Mayor Pico.
Aye.
Any non-scheduled citizens and visitors for public comment on items relevant to village business? Anyone here to speak? Board comments.
Board comments. Trustee Katsinas.
Thank you. First of all, I want to wish everyone a happy St. Patrick's Day. And we have some guests in the audience I would just like to introduce. We have students from Governor State University here, and they are watching our meeting, and unfortunately, they have to do a large report after it. So I just wanted to welcome you, and thank you for choosing Orland. Thank you.
Trustee Malani.
Just to let our residents know, you might be seeing some random markings on your sidewalk. No, people are not out stalking your house. The sidewalk replacement program is out, and they're starting to mark sidewalks for replacements. So be on the lookout for that in the coming months.
Last year?
Sorry. Also, wanted to call out, we talked a lot about special recreation. We got our, all-inclusive park. We've got the money for that, and we're going to move forward with that. But also, the Ladies Owls basketball team made a trip to Bloomington for their state basketball tournament. Not only did they win against Adams County 48-22, they won the state championship. So congratulations to the Lady Owls on their accomplishments. And as always, thank you to staff and to everybody that helps out with that program. It's fantastic. Also want to let everybody know that the Lucky Egg Hunt is coming up for Easter celebration on April 12th at 10 a.m. So looking forward to seeing everybody there. So, thank you.
Trustee Radiszewski.
Oh, boy. Happy St. Patrick's Day, everyone. And I wanted to say congratulations to the wrestlers who were acknowledged during the cow meeting earlier. As many of you know, I decided not to run for reelection to focus on my health and family. So tonight is most likely my last night in this chair. Until I have two more. I asked that. I do, okay. Okay, well, I was gonna say thank you to everybody, so I guess I'll say it tonight, thank you, everybody, and then I'll say it again later. And you know what, I'm so stuffy right now, I'm kinda glad that I don't have to talk tonight. It's probably a good thing. Okay, moving on.
Trustee Healy.
Now I know how you feel after my comments. The other Sunday morning, Saturday night, we had a surprise on our block. We had a water main break right in front of my neighbor's house that flooded the streets. And the next morning, the Public Works showed up, and they were all business. They repaired that thing as quick as anybody could do, despite the rain and the snow and the sleet. They did a fantastic job, and I could sit in my warm front room and occasionally look over and watch, make sure they were working, but they just cut right through it and did a great job. So, and I'm sure that's an everyday thing for them, because you can just tell that they're professionals at what they do, and we're lucky to have them. So. Thanks,
Did you
Joel,
bring
for
them
your
coffee,
leadership in
Bill,
that.
or did you just sit in your room and watch them?
I tried to get my wife to go out there. No,
Okay.
I was reading the board minutes or whatever, so.
Reading the lease with Verizon.
Trustee Compass.
So didn't quite get this in time during the discussion of the audit, and I wanted to make sure I looked it up just so that it's 100% accurate. I want to know, as of March 17th, 2025, the state of Illinois has not yet published its audited annual comprehensive financial report for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2023. Not December 31st, 2023, but June 30th, 2023. That's 6 months more. The Illinois Office of Comptroller is awaiting the completion of the audit by the Auditor General. And so to that I say, physician, heal thyself. To comments, regular comments though, as we continue through a season of reflection and renewal, I do want to wish best wishes to all observing Lent as we prepare for Easter. And likewise to our Muslim neighbors, I wish you a blessed Ramadan. May this time be a time of peace, reflection, and community. And of course, with today being March 17th, I want to wish everyone a happy St. Patrick's Day. As the old Irish blessing goes, may your troubles be less and your blessings be more, and nothing but happiness come through your door. Lastly, I'd like to close out by saying that we have the Lucky Egg Hunt happening on Saturday, April 12th at Centennial Park. This year, the event has grown again with over 20,000 eggs hidden and spread throughout the park, including special golden tickets that can be redeemed for age-appropriate prizes. One thing I've always appreciated, Ray, about our event especially is how we separate the groups by age, making sure that every child has a fair chance to participate. And I know that the village board and staff really enjoys making sure going around and making sure that no child leaves empty-handed. As a father of a once upon a time toddler daughter, that was a very crushing experience at another egg hunt when she didn't get any because the kids were just that fast. So it's really great that I think all of our families have a great, even though it ends in about 5 minutes, it still is a fantastic event. I encourage everyone to come out and enjoy that morning together. Again, special thanks to Recreation and Parks Department, Public Works, Police Department, and all those involved in making it happen. Thank you all. Look forward to seeing you all in the upcoming community events.
And I think 5 minutes is generous. I think it's more like 2. Trustee Reardon.
Thank you. Happy St. Patrick's Day to everyone celebrating. Congrats to the wrestlers. I had 2 brothers and I had 4 nephews that all wrestled in high school and college for some of them. It is the most singular sport. If you have anybody that you know that wrestled, they're out on that mat, you're sitting there watching, they are so by themselves. All the other sports, you got basketball, football, you got teammates out there, they are there by themselves. And good or bad, it's a very trying experience. And their seasons, of course, for some twisted person who decided, are over Thanksgiving and Christmas. So my brothers are sitting there trying to lose weight, trying to not eat during Thanksgiving to try to keep their weight. They're wearing these plastic bags. Just a really tough sport that I'd never even tried. So congratulations to all of them. Next, the budget and brief came out. It was fantastic. Great job by staff. I think it just lays it out so well for all the residents to see where all the money is, where we borrow, where we spend money, where we raise money, how we charge our residents for various things. And it was a great job. The audit, yeah, there was a lot of noise, a lot of personal agendas about trying to manipulate that, which were bad for Orland Park, which were bad for our community, but people's agendas get in the way. But this is great news by staff to get this up to date and get us caught up, which is fantastic. News about the mall and Dick's Sporting Goods. This new concept is unbelievable. It's not just moving the store from one spot to another and just a bigger, selling of sports equipment. There's a lot more going on there. So we're very supportive of that. Hope that all works out very well. And there is an election, I hear, coming up in a couple of weeks. So please get out there and vote, whoever you support. There's a lot of things on the agenda. We got supervision, the township, the library, the school districts, and of course, the municipal elections here. So whoever you support, get out there. It's really important to have engagement. Have a good night.
Thanks. So my comments tonight, as I said a couple years ago, there are some people hell-bent, I said this at the State of the Village 2 years ago, they're hell-bent on tearing apart the village for their own personal gain and will continue to do so. I told you then that they'd continue to do so and become more vocal the closer we get to the election, which they have. I predicted it correctly. Now it's, last time I talked about a robocall against our chief, now it's an absolutely heinous robocall, putting a target on my wife's back. The response to this was not to denounce it vehemently, but rather to blame me for doing it. Shame on every single one of you that did that. Well, speaking of robocalls, there were 2 on Sunday. This time, they actually, candidates' names and their voices for the fire district pushing the merger room that you've heard me talk about, the merger rumor of the fire district. I can't say this enough, but I had someone come to me at early voting wondering why there wasn't a referendum on the ballot for this. That's because the rumor is not true. This is not happening, okay? I've said it multiple times, and I will say it again. It is a rumor being spread to benefit candidates and those that support them, okay? the mayor of Tinley Park, the Tinley Park Fire Chief, I believe, and the Orland Park Fire Chief, and myself have all said these rumors are false. Voters, think wisely. If people will lie to you to create fear in order to get you to vote, what do you think they'll do when they get in office? So think before you vote. As I've said many times before, Orland Park has no involvement, but if it were true, and it's not, this board and I would vehemently oppose it if someone ever tried to do it. Everyone should be excited for Orland Park and its future. The infrastructure improvements, think about what we approved tonight. On top of all the other roads we've done, we're doing the 143rd Street intersection, improving that. Parks, we approved, you had another grant for, we talked about Schuessler Park and that getting done tonight, which is fantastic. Dick's coming to the mall, it's, another fantastic piece of news. I mean, most towns in Illinois aren't seeing this. We've added 5,000 jobs in the last 8 years where Illinois has lost jobs, okay? We're a success story. There's not a lot of them in the state of Illinois, so we should be very proud of that. As Trustee Reardon said, budget in brief. If you want to know what's going on in Orland Park, read the budget in brief. It will tell you everything that's going on, all that we're doing. It is the single most easiest document. It's like, 30 pages long or so, but it's going to give you everything you need to know. If you really want to know about what's going on in the village, it tells you. Great job by staff getting it out. It's the first time in several years it's gotten out on time, so good job, Jim. Good job, Vince, for getting this done, because your predecessors were unable to get it done on time year after year, so great work. And tonight, we got to do the fun stuff, which is, congratulate District 230 again. So the boys wrestling, District 230 girls wrestling, Carl Sandberg boys wrestlers, and last time it was a gymnast for District 230, so that's fantastic. Just those are the cool things and the great things about our community. We talked about the egg hunt. Also, there's a groundbreaking for the Triangle next week on the 27th. I'm not sure of the time. Anybody know the time exactly?
I believe it's 10 a.m.
10 a.m.? So 10 a.m. groundbreaking at the Triangle. So looking forward to that. Our next board meeting is after the election, so I do encourage everyone to get out and vote, and I look forward to being your mayor in the future. So thank you very much. I'll entertain a motion to go into executive session.
Mr. Chairman,
Trustee Campos.
I move to go into executive session for A, pending litigation against, affecting, or on behalf of the village, or when found by the board that such action is probable or imminent.
Second.
Call roll.
Trustee Campos.
Aye.
Trustee Malani.
Aye.
Trustee Healy.
Aye.
Trustee Katsinas.
Aye.
Trustee Reardon.
Aye.
Trustee Radiszewski.
Aye.
Mayor Pico.
Aye. Go into executive session. And Jeff, we are not coming out to vote.